Want to welcome everybody into Garage Takes here. We're talking Michigan football. They get win number 1 in the book against New Mexico. True freshman Bryce Underwood certainly did not disappoint, but while he didn't disappoint, neither did John Mateer in his debut as a transfer from Washington State over to Oklahoma. And so that brings in the game of the week here in college football. And I don't think it's really close. There's not a lot of great games this week. So you got Michigan traveling to Oklahoma this Saturday night at 7:30. Brant, I want to get into that game and specifically want to talk about what you saw, what you gathered from Michigan from this New Mexico game, maybe Bryce Underwood in particular. But before you get into that, do us a huge favor right now. If you are joining us on Garage Takes, hit that subscribe button, hop in the comment section down below. Let us know whether you're an Oklahoma fan, you're a Michigan fan. What do you think is going to happen this Saturday night and why, Brant? Let's get right into it.
Dave, I think that Michigan's going to be able to run the ball. I think that they're going to be able to push them around a little bit. I wasn't too impressed with Oklahoma's defensive line when they played Illinois State. You know, those tough, pesky Redbirds out rushing the mighty Oklahoma Sooners. I feel like that jumps off to me right away as something Michigan can exploit. You're giving up 117 on the ground to an Illinois State team. Michigan should look to exploit that, Dave. Definitely. I know we have questions, and I know you certainly have questioned the offensive line kind of in the offseason, but I think even you had said last week, a passing grade for sure. They played well enough to get the job done. Obviously, there's some things that they need to clean up. There's going to be some things on a week-to-week basis that they're going to need to clean up. But overall, I think that Michigan's going to be able to move the ball on this Oklahoma defense.
Brant, what did you learn about Bryce Underwood? So that's been the biggest storyline for Michigan football since whenever that was, towards the end of last November when he flips his commitment to Michigan, long-awaited debut. And really that we can kind of dovetail that into the John Mateer conversation as well. But let's start with Bryce Underwood. What were your takeaways from that game against New Mexico? What did you see from him?
Dave, the first thing I just want to say, and I hope all Michigan fans realize this, what a physical specimen Bryce Underwood actually is. And I mean, to think that he just turned 18 a couple weeks ago is kind of unfathomable. You look at a guy like that and the poise, and he already has these kind of tools in his tool bag. And I mean, this is not a complete tool set at all, but just as he's making these throws and as he's getting in a rhythm, you can see the confidence started to grow throughout the game. And on that 3rd and 14, Chip Lindsey trusted him to rip it, on the dig route, and he absolutely nailed it. And a kid like that wasn't phased. He didn't ever look concerned. He definitely looked like he was conducting the entire time, whether it was, hey, we're in hurry up. Hey, we're going to huddle now. Or, hey, that was a drop. I've already moved on. And that was what really impressed me the most. He didn't dwell on any drops, and Dave, there were a few drops in that game. You know it. So one, I was very impressed with his poise, and Dave, the physical specimen, like I said, of just like the sheer size of him. I know you can look at it and say 6'6", 230, whatever, but when you finally see it out there, you're like, yeah, he looks like a man among boys. And the last thing that I'll say, Dave, is you could see the leadership, attributes that he has, and guys are rallying around him. They truly believe in him, and that is really refreshing to see. So that's what popped to me about Bryce right away.
Yeah, Bryce Underwood is built for this. He is literally built out of a video game to be a quarterback. You want a 6'4", 230-pound quarterback at the helm, there's your guy, Bryce Underwood. He can throw the football. He can run the football, which I want to talk about a little bit because we didn't see that this past Saturday. But my takeaways were very similar to yours. The poise, the confidence, the leadership. For him to get the trust and the respect of his teammates this early on, as somebody who just turned 18 years old a couple of weeks ago, says everything you need to know. He throws a hard ball, a lot of velocity. It comes out of there fast, but I think you also saw from Bryce's, he's got the touch. He's going to hit Marlon Klein up the sideline there and know when to take a little bit off. Some of these receivers aren't ready to catch a football from a guy like Bryce Underwood. That was my takeaway from the game. I think the timing will get there, and it's not going to be perfect. He took a couple of shots, a couple missed throws, across the middle there, across his body that, you're going to have to live with a freshman. I do think that can bite you in a huge road game like this weekend at Oklahoma. But the bottom line is, and I think it was like the first or the second drive, I texted you and was like, we've got a quarterback. And it just was so, for what Michigan fans had to endure last year. And that's not to throw any slight at Davis Ward and Alex Orji, Jack Tuttle and those guys. But from what we had to watch last year, to flip this game on game one, and it wasn't perfect. There were definitely things to clean up. It was like, okay, the start of this 3-year era of Michigan football under Bryce Underwood has begun, and it's exciting. I want to talk a little bit about John Mateer, because John Mateer, he was a highly rated transfer or a quarterback coming out of the transfer portal out of Washington State. And now I know, just like Michigan just played New Mexico, Oklahoma just played Illinois State, but John Mateer looked to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Some of the throws that he made, and it's like I heard his name all off season, and of course this Oklahoma game has been circled for a while, but I actually paid attention this past week and watched some clips of his game. I'm like, okay, this guy can throw the football, and not only can he throw the football, he can run the football as well. I think what Michigan's key to this game will be is to put it all on his shoulders, because you're right. Like the run game was not there for Oklahoma. And if Michigan's defense and these guys up front can make them be one dimensional, I like our chances. I do think that having a dual threat quarterback like that presents some challenges that, this Michigan team just hasn't seen yet. It's week 2. And the same could be said for Oklahoma. That is one thing. While you saw that from John Mateer in week 1, you didn't see that from Bryce Underwood. And I think that was intentional. For God's sakes, you look at the viral clip of Bryce Underwood throwing his throwing arm shoulder to land a block and get Justice Haynes a touchdown. It's exciting, but you're also like, oh God, please don't get hurt. So I'm okay with it, but that's going to be, I think that's the element of this Michigan offense that's going to really have to show and going to have to pop this Saturday, is let Bryce Underwood beat Bryce Underwood, because that's what he did at Belleville High School for 4 years. And it's what he's been doing his whole life. He's always been that guy. He's always been that physical specimen. And I don't think it's really going to change. I think this will be the toughest match of his young football career. And it's not close, but I think he's got it in him. I do think, I think I saw, Brant, that this line was set at like 6.5 in favor of Oklahoma. Is that right?
Now 4.5 now.
Down to 4.5. Okay. I would love to know, as we kind of wrap up this segment here, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think happens Saturday night, and why do you like? Let's call it 4.5. Do you like Michigan plus 4.5? You think Oklahoma covers, and why?
I'll take Michigan with the 4.5. I think Michigan has a very good chance to win this game outright. Dave, you hit on the John Mateer being able to run, and he's got a better arm than what they would have saw last year as they ended the season with Jalen Milroe. We pretty much know he couldn't throw a really good over-the-middle type ball, or his accuracy wasn't where it needed to be. Jalen Milroe could always throw the deep ball, but John Mateer kind of does it all. But one quick thing to note, Dave, is John Mateer's worst 5 games last year for Washington State came against his top 5 opponents, which, that seems to check for, probably a good amount of quarterbacks, but you couldn't even get 1 or 2 games where that was one of your better games against your tougher competition. So don't forget that he hasn't played a ton of high-level football, Dave. This is going to be John Mateer's basically big test, the biggest test he's ever had as well. So, and by far, you got to look at the Brent Venables situation here too, Dave. Jerome Moore is kind of sitting on easy street right now. Brent Venables is not, Dave. He is fighting for his job. This Oklahoma team is fighting to be, I wouldn't say relevant again, but to get into that top 15, to get into the playoff again for the first time in the 12th team. So I love Michigan to go in there and to cover the 4.5. Either way you slice it, I guess I won't pick a winner right now, Dave, but I like Michigan with the 4.5.
I actually have meant to ask this before we started recording. That running back transfer they got, Jay Knott, is he playing? Because he didn't
Yeah.
play, did he,
So,
this past weekend?
so he did have a snap. He did have one carry for -3 yards. However, all the reports out of their camp was Blaylock is a better running back right now. And of course, they say he's working through something like that. But I guess people that really know say Blaylock had a better camp, and Oklahoma basically wasn't able to run the ball really on Illinois State at all. 103 rushing yards. That is not impressive against, I believe, Illinois State is FCS. So
Yep, absolutely. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, I am going to I'm going to be, I guess, the pessimistic Michigan fan that I am and have been in the past, and I do think that this is a good football team with a quarterback that is going to be elite, if not the best in college football. I would say next year has the potential to do that. It will not surprise me at all if Michigan wins this game. I do think that they're tougher up front on both sides of the football. I think that Oklahoma's front seven presents some challenges. It's going to test this O line. I feel good that Andrew Sprague is good. He's not actually hurt. He was just cramping up. They're going to need that O line at full strength. I want to see that D line eat a little bit more. It was like we heard about them all and how deep they were, and the depth was certainly there from Eno Etta to Damon Payne. These guys that really stepped up and played really good games. And I know the secondary had some ups and downs. But the bottom line is, and why I think I'm going to go Oklahoma to cover 4.5. Yes, it's a home game. I do think Brett Venables needs this win big time, just like you said. And just ultimately, I look at the quarterback battle here, and I think it's going to be an awesome battle. I do. I think it comes down to who makes less mistakes, though. And if I've got to put these two guys next to each other, I'm probably taking John Mateer, a more experienced quarterback. And look, I hope that Bryce and Michigan, they prove me wrong. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. This is not going to be a shootout. And I think that ultimately the tougher, more disciplined team, and that means penalties, turnovers, special teams, which Michigan has got to figure out, ultimately will win this game. But folks, let us know right here in the comment section here on Garage Takes. Hit that subscribe button. Let us know, what do you think here? What did you think of Michigan last week? Oklahoma, the quarterback battle this week between Bryce Underwood and John Mateer. Look forward to hearing your thoughts.